So today we're going to be talking about how to stay sane in 2024. I think most of us can agree that there's a lot going on in the world. There seems to be a lot of changes taking place in a short period of time. And if we're being honest with ourselves, I feel like a lot of us are sensing something different. When we think about the future, we get really uneasy. I think a lot of our mental health has started to suffer, or we're afraid that in the future it might really take a hit. So today I'm going to be talking about 20 things that I've been trying to implement into my life to help me stay sane. And I think these might be beneficial to all of us. Let's jump right into it. The number one thing I think we need to do in 2024 to stay sane is to stop watching the news. I've been talking about this for years. I think I got a video 7-8 years ago where I was talking about please stop watching the news. Today I wanted to talk about why I believe everyone should stop watching the news. Yeah, I said it. Stop watching the news. So much of the unrest and so much of the fear we have on a day-to-day basis comes from watching the news and hearing and seeing things all around the world that don't really affect us. Okay, if there's some local news that actually affects you, cool. But we don't need to know what's going on all over the world. The news is 99% negative, and we get inundated with negativity from around the world on a daily basis. We are not set up to be able to process all this. You wonder why we think the world is so much worse than it's ever been? Because we've never had this much access to information. The second thing I think that it can be very helpful for all of us is to delete some of our social media platforms. Once again, going back to our first point, I just don't think our minds were built to have so much information coming in on a daily basis and being subscribed and being on all these social media platforms and getting information from them all the time. I don't think it's helpful. Also, I think it helps with the zombie scrolling, because you go to one platform, you scroll through it, you go to another one, you scroll through it, you go to another one, and we're just spending all day on these platforms. And we have to ask ourselves, is the information, are the posts, are the videos I'm getting from these platforms positive or negative? And I think more of them will be negative. Not to mention, it gives us an unrealistic view of how other people are living their lives, right? That's not helpful. The third point I want to touch on, and it's one I've been touching on for years. If you know me, this will come as no surprise. I think we need to spend more time in nature. Once again, I've been thinking a lot about how were we built? How were we created? I look back at how our ancestors lived, and I think that's the ways that are best for us. Our ancestors spent all their time in nature, bro. They were outside all the time. We need to get outside more. We spend our whole life inside these boxes. We wake up in our house, which is a box. We get in our car, which is another box, and drive to work. We stay there 8 to 10 hours, another box. We're never outside. We're never in nature. I know for me, when I'm in nature, there's something about it that just does something to my soul. It just makes me feel more alive. And if you're someone who doesn't spend a lot of time in nature, you might not realize this. But get outside, get in nature, take a walk, go to the park, go to the national park, spend some time outdoors. I promise you, it helps you to see that a lot of this human stuff that we deal with, a lot of this what I consider fake stuff that we're dealing with on a daily basis, it's not real. The trees aren't worried about this stuff. The mountains, the rivers, the grass, the animals, they're not worried about all this human stuff we get all worked up about. And if you spend some time outdoors, taking that in, it allows you to kind of realize how small and insignificant all this human stuff is we're really worried about. Number 4, and I think this is another one that we've kind of gotten away from. I really feel like spending time with friends and family, more time with friends and family is so helpful. This is something I've really been trying to prioritize in my life. If I could do it in real life, face to face, even better. If not, well then FaceTime or the telephone, or even text messages will work. But if we can spend more time actually in front of, being able to touch and hug and hold and talk to and have face-to-face conversations where we can feel the love and the energy with our friends and our family members, that can go so far. And just helping us stay sane. They always say a problem shared is a problem halved. So just being able to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with someone who cares about us, not some rando on the internet who wants to argue with us about it, but someone who knows us and who loves us and who understands us and can discuss it with us. We don't even have to come up with solutions. Some of the stuff there is no solution, but just being able to say to someone who loves you, hey, I'm worried about this. I don't know what the future looks like. And having them be like, yeah, I'm worried about that too. Let's talk about it, can do so much. Number 5, and this is one that I've been putting into my life for a couple years now, really beneficial, and that's meditation. I noticed that a lot of the people that I kind of looked up to and was reading their autobiography or like listening to them on a podcast, a lot of people that I consider successful, who I liked what they had to say in life, when asked something that helped them, all of them, almost to a woman, almost to a man, said meditation. So I said, I'm gonna start meditating. And I didn't get caught up in, oh, I have to do it properly, I have to sit in a certain way and say Om or all this other stuff. I didn't need any special bowls or sounds or whatever. Every morning, I just sit in bed for about 15 to 30 minutes. I personally turn on some music, like some meditation music. You don't have to. You can just sit there quietly. You can do guided meditation. But for like 15 to 30 minutes every morning, I just sit and meditate. I just sit and I try to kind of clear my mind. Some days I don't get to clear it and I just sit there and think about stuff. That's okay too. But I've gotten some times where it really just kind of freed my mind up. And honestly, I've had some real breakthroughs in life when I was meditating. Some things that I didn't even set out to think about. I was meditating, I started thinking about them, and I realized some things about myself, about my life, that previously had never popped up, and it was the meditation. So this is another one. It's free. It ain't gonna cost you no money. Try it for a week. The world is different now. We got to try some different stuff. You never tried meditation before. I implore you, try it for a week. See if it works for you. Moving right along. Number 6, find a hobby or hobbies you enjoy. I think we all naturally stumble across hobbies, but some people haven't yet. Or sometimes we have hobbies, but we don't feel like as an adult, as a grown-up, we have time for them. No, maybe in 2018. But in 2024, you need to get back to them hobbies, because we need to focus on some things that takes our mind off all the negativity, everything bad that's going on in the world. And a hobby allows you to have fun. A hobby allows you to enjoy life. A hobby gives you fulfillment, and it also allows you to see that there's beautiful, awesome things still happening in the world. Now, the 7th thing we're going to talk about that I think can help us all to stay sane in 2024 is to watch, listen to, stream uplifting content. The crazy thing is we're all on our phones, we're all on our devices most of the day when we're not working, sometimes even when we are working. Everybody's listening to podcasts, everybody's watching videos. I love it. I'm here for it. As a content creator, I'm here for it. But how much of the content we're taking in is positive and uplifting? If all we're taking in is negative content, why are we surprised when we're viewing the world negatively? I'm gonna say that again. If the majority of the stuff we're taking in is negative, why are we surprised when we start to view the world negatively? Why are we surprised when we start to get very anxious and scared and fearful when we're listening to all this fear mongering or watching all this fear mongering all day long? We have to really prioritize what we take into our bodies. That's just not like food. That's just not like drink. That's also content. And there is tons of uplifting, positive content on the internet. I know this guy named Timothy Ward, who that's basically all he does. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you. And if you want to hit the like button, that helps too. Thank you. That'll help other people find this positive, uplifting content. Moving right along, number 8. And this one ties into like what we take into our body. It's very important that we eat healthy foods. I'm really going to start working on this in the coming months. I realize that what I eat definitely affects my moods, because sometimes when I do eat healthier, I feel it. And then when I go back to eating junkier, I feel it. Especially these days where like nobody cares whether you're healthy or not. You know, the big corporations, the big companies honestly would like you to be sicker, so then you have to spend more money on healthcare. There was a time we lived in a world where people wanted to sell you quality products. We don't live in that world anymore. The food companies now make money for the healthcare companies. And a lot of times it's owned by the same people. They don't care. So we have to prioritize going out there, finding healthier foods and eating them. And it may be more expensive, but like if we're serious about getting through these times, like we have to take drastic measures. And one of them I know for me is I really have to get serious about what I eat. Number 9, very similar, it's drink more water. And on that note, I'm gonna take me a little water break. We drink a lot of coffee, we drink a lot of soda, we drink a lot of juice that isn't really juice, you know? Drink more water. You know, water is what was put here for us to drink. All these other drinks we had to come up with. Water was put here for us to drink. Drink your other stuff. I love kombucha, myself, but drink more water. Stay hydrated. All this stuff matters, folks. Number 10, and this might be a strange one. A lot of people might be like, what is, what's going on with this one? Number 10, cry when you need to. This wasn't initially on the list, and it popped in my head the other day. I forget what I was thinking about. I didn't cry, but I was reminiscing on some times when I did cry and how good it felt. And I feel like, especially men, we're taught men don't cry. A lot of times we feel like we're weak if we cry. Sometimes things happen and it is okay to cry it out. A few months back, I was in an Airbnb in the bathroom crying on the floor. And I felt great afterwards. It felt like it was something I need to do. Crying is a natural human process. And if we get overwhelmed and we get really scared or something very painful happens to us, crying was put there to help us get through it. So we don't need to stifle some of these processes that we will naturally have within us that can help us. Nah, just cry, let it out, let it go. Cry, it's okay. Number 11, this is another one I think is very important. I've been working on this personally. We gotta quit or cut back on our addictions and our vices. I know in troubling times, that's when we really turn to our addictions and our vices. We double down on them because everything else around us seems to be crumbling. And we're like, well, I know this brings me enjoyment. And even though it ends up hurting us in the end, we turn to our vices when things get down. But that's really when we need to let go of them, because in the end, we end up broke. We end up, hating ourselves because we're drinking more or we're doing, more drugs, whatever your vice is. In the end, it's hurtful. And we don't need that on our back when we're already dealing with all this other stuff in life. And I know for me, I don't know if I could have gotten through the last few years if I was still drinking, dealing with some of the major vices I was dealing with before. I got some minor ones I'm still trying to work on. And I've realized that the days and the weeks and the months when I'm doing well with them, I do better. And I feel better about myself. And it once again allows me to see, there is positive things happening in this world. Number 12 is one kind of ties in with what was that number 3 about getting out in nature. But number 12, I think we need to exercise regularly. I just think we were meant to move around as humans. We're meant to get exercise. Our ancestors were always working with their hands outside. You know what I mean? I think we just feel better. We stay in shape. I think everyone will tell you it's better to stay in shape. So a lot of us now have jobs where we sit in front of a computer or in front of a device, or we talk to people, we're in an office. We're not out there working with our hands. We're not out there doing things physical, and you don't have to. But I think we should prioritize getting some type of exercise in, walk around the lake, go to the gym, lift some weights, get some cardio, just do something every day to get the blood flowing and to exercise, because I think that's better than just sitting around or standing around all day and not getting some type of workout. 13, here's one that it's another one we might not think about, but devote more of our time to helping others. One of the things that is built into us that a lot of times we, especially in the society we live in these days, where it's dog eat dog, every man for himself, every woman for herself, generosity, spending some of our time, energy, money, whatever, helping others can take us out of that bubble of just thinking about ourselves and worrying about ourselves. And it also gives us that good feeling knowing we help somebody. What we're trying to do is bring more good feelings into our life to combat all the negative feelings and the stress and the anxiety and the worry. That's one of those purely good feelings. When I know I gave of my time, money, or energy to help someone when I didn't have to, when I know that I spent some time talking with someone who needed to talk, when I do any number of things you can do to help someone, just saying hello to people and seeing that smile come on their face. Oh, someone talked to me. When I do that for no ulterior motive other than that I just wanted to do it, that makes me feel so good. That is just a purely good feeling. And in this life, it's hard to find purely good feelings sometimes. 14, find fulfilling work. One of the reasons that so many of us feel lost in life is that we don't have fulfilling work in our life. Work takes up for a lot of us the majority of our life, if we're being honest. Either we're at work, or we're thinking about work, or we're worried about work, or we're getting ready for work, or we're commuting to work. Work takes up the lion's share of a lot of our lives. So if we don't have fulfilling work, it's no surprise that we can feel unfulfilled in life. So finding fulfilling work, or starting to figure out what might look like fulfilling work for you, and then trying to go after that, can go a long way towards bringing some fulfillment into our lives. I can say that does so much for me. That does so much for me, and helping my mood and helping me understand that the world can still be a beautiful, amazing place. Number 15 is a big one for me, and that's focus on gratitude. When we look around the world and all we focus on is the negative and the bad and the stressful and the worrisome, it's no surprise that that's what we think the world is. But if we focus on gratitude and we look at the positive stuff in our life, the fact that we have food to eat, the fact that we have a roof over our heads, the fact that we have love of some form, be it romantic love or friendships, or the fact that we have even a few dollars in the bank, you know what I mean? The fact that we're not broke, just this, there's a billion things to be grateful for. And if we focus on those things, I know I found for me that it keeps me from just wallowing in the funk of all the stuff I don't have or all this other stuff's going on that I don't like in the world. When I can come back to like, hey, this might be happening, but I'm grateful for this. This might be happening, or I might not have this, but I do have this. Let's see that as a blessing and let's be grateful for that, because I never want to not appreciate my blessings. Gratitude probably should have been a lot higher on this list. It should have been like number 3.5, because gratitude is so important and it's free. It's simple. It's easy. When you find yourself just, hey, what is something I'm grateful for? What are 5 things I'm grateful for? Do that 5 times throughout the day. I promise you your mentals will be different. Eventually it becomes a part of you and you'll find yourself just naturally, for no reason, just being grateful. Number 16, and I'm big on this one. I've done videos about this in the past. We got to stop taking life so serious. Laugh more, smile more, giggle more, be stupid, be silly. This life isn't serious. All we have to do in life is get from womb to tomb. We all know how this life ends. So why in the 80, 90 years that we're here, are we so wrapped up and worried and serious, bro? You know what I mean? Like, it's a game, bro. I view life as like an amusement park. You show up, you try to have as much fun as possible. You try to ride as many rides as possible, and then you're out. You know what I mean? Like, why do we take it so serious? There's gonna be some cool, awesome, amazing stuff that happens to us in this lifetime. There's gonna be some bad stuff. We don't need to focus on the bad. We don't need to take it so serious. It's a game, bro. Laugh more, smile more, giggle, do the stuff that makes you happy. Sometimes as an adult, we feel like, no, I must be really tapped into the badness and the negative, blah, blah, blah. If that's the way you want to live, cool, there are no rules. But if you're trying to get through this life and not be super stressed, not be super worried, you know what I mean? Laugh more, smile more, giggle more, have fun, bro. It's a game. Number 17 is another one that I've picked up recently in the past 6 months or so. I've made it part of my daily routine. Write out what you're feeling. A lot of times we internalize. It goes back to our tip earlier about talking about stuff with people. You can talk about stuff with yourself internally, and we rarely ever come up with any solutions. You ever notice that? You'll be worried about something and you'll worry about it all day long. Tomorrow when you wake up, you start worrying about it again, you're at the same place. One of the things I've found, if I don't have other people to talk to something about, I write it down. Something about getting it out. Something about saying it aloud to someone else, or something about writing it down allows me to kind of like process it better. I do mine in the morning. I get up, I have my notebook here and I write 3 pages. Some mornings I start out, I ain't got nothing to write this morning, but I'm writing. Other days I have something I know I want to write about. But even the days when I don't have anything to write about, I usually come up with something. But when I'm really worried about something, what am I going to do, for this, or what am I going to do for that? Or, this is really bothering me. I write it out. It helps. I don't know why. Once again, I didn't get a memo. I didn't get an email telling me why this stuff works. It just works. I think that's why humans have been writing stuff down and writing stuff out for, millennia. Just write it down. It's free. It's easy. You go down to the Walmart, you get a notebook, you get a pen. Right, or write it in your phone, however you want to do it. But like I'm telling you, a lot of these techniques on this list, the ones that are like the most powerful, I feel like are the free, easy ones. Now, since y'all know me, I'm good at doing a tip, and then the next tip kind of like not contradict it, but I just talked about do all the free stuff. And this tip, number 18, we're going to talk about maybe sometimes talking to a mental health professional, which usually costs money, doesn't always. There's a lot of like clinics and places in a lot of towns that will allow you to talk to a counselor for free. I've done it before. I was going through something, mom called a counselor up. She took me up there. I sat down for free, talked to somebody. So consulting a mental health professional, if you feel like maybe you need just a little extra help, maybe you don't have anyone outside of yourself to talk to. Sometimes it's cool just to have somebody who has no skin in the game of your life to talk to. Some stuff is hard to talk to friends and family members about because they're in your life. And if you tell somebody, they're going to know it for the rest of your life. Maybe it's something you don't want to tell nobody. Maybe you've written it out, you've thought about it, and it's like, I just got to tell somebody, a therapist, a psychologist, a counselor. These days you can do it online. But if you feel like you need to talk to somebody who maybe this is what they do for a living, there used to be a much worse stigma on it. I know back in the day when I was going through my severe depression, people thought you were crazy if you went to a therapist. Now a lot of people are doing it. So if that's something you're thinking about, go for it. Go for it. And if you try it and it doesn't work, cool, but it's just another tool in the toolkit to try. And we trying to try every tool, every option, exhaust all resources, because there's nothing more important than like our mental health and making it through these times. Moving right along, folks, number 19, we're almost near the end of the list. Number 19 is to stop judging others. This may sound like a crazy one, but a lot of the issues we have in life come from how we view ourselves. And a lot of us we're feeling inadequate. We're feeling lost in life. We're feeling behind. We're feeling ugly. We're feeling too skinny, too fat. We're feeling all this stuff because we're spending so much time looking at other people and judging them and then judging ourselves based off of what we see, And one thing I learned recently in the past few years was that the harder I judge other people, then I'm going to turn that same lens, that same judgment back on me. But if I stop judging other people and I just realize people are people, you know what I mean? People are people. We all got our lives. We all got our looks. We all got our whatever. People are people and I'm just a person. No one's better. No one's worse. People are people. They do what they do. Then I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, I'm just a person doing what I do. And if there's things I want to correct, I'll correct them. Now, last one, number 20. Our final tip for staying sane in 2024 and on is to just let go. There are going to be things that happen that we're really not going to like. There's going to be things that happen that cause us pain, cause us suffering. The good news is throughout our whole life up to this point, there have been things that happened that I didn't like, that you didn't like, that caused us suffering. And guess what? We got through them. That's what's going to happen in the future. We're going to get through it. The things that are going to happen to me this year, next year, things that are going to happen to you, you don't know what they're going to be. We try to extrapolate and figure them out. We don't know. But guess what? We'll get through them and they'll probably make us a stronger person. So we can just let go of worrying about it. We can just let go of thinking we can figure it out. Because what we always do in life is we worry about stuff up until the time when we have to make a decision, and then we just make a decision. You don't have to have it figured out. You don't need to know. You never knew, and you made it this far. We all have made a lot of mistakes, and we're still here. We all have messed up. We're still here. We're going to make more mistakes. Just let all that go. Just enjoy the moment. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my 20 ways to stay sane in 2024. I would love in the comment box for you to add some, if there's things you do that aren't on this list, or if you've done some of these and you can just add your wisdom and add some weight to the topics, please in the comment box, let's have a discussion. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm wishing you all an amazing 2024 and the rest of your life. I'm saying prayers for all of us. I'll talk to y'all soon.